No.
So much pressure.
You gotta sneeze.
Hello, and Blinkies is now Otto again. Yay for stuff. Otto is two people.
Hi.
Welcome everybody. Let me get Blinkies back in.
He's cloning himself.
It's just the robot's taking over. Skynet's happening. Welcome everybody to the Astropub. My name's Paul. This is the Captain's Table, where we bring in content creators from all over the Star Citizen universe to talk Star Citizen. It is the new year for some of you guys, and New Year's Eve for the rest of you. So happy New Year to all of you around the world who it is, and happy New Year's Eve. Hopefully you guys have a good New Year's for the rest of you guys. Let me get Blinkies in here at some point.
I mean, I'm not just a scene.
You're not just you're not just Microtech. You're not just the cold, barren wastes of Microtech. No.
I thought I was the caterpillar.
that too. But let's start off with the person right across from me, Grit Spitter. I always do that. Say that, Grit Spitter. Who are you? Where can they find you? What do you do in Star Citizen?
Oh man, so many questions to answer right off the bat. Yep, Grit Spitter. You can call me Grit. It's a lot easier. A lot of people call me Grit Splitter. Doesn't hurt my feelings. I am a Twitch streamer, relatively new Twitch streamer, over at twitch.tv/Grit Spitter. Mainly streaming Star Citizen, obviously. I've been around for a few years. I've kind of been lurking in the wings and watching a lot of Twitch streamers and watching all the weekly content and everything. So I'm still kind of figuring out exactly what it is I do. but
you do Star Citizen stuff.
Yeah, I do a lot of Star Marine now that 2.6 is out.
Ooh, Star Marine. That's
really need to work on my flying though, big time. Yeah, that's about it right now, off the top of my head.
Alrighty. Next, right down below Grit, we've got the first sentient AI in our ever to come onto the podcast. So I'm kind of afraid that we may end up, getting taken over. This cast will crash. If it crashes, I'm blaming Otto. But we have Mr. Otto DJ.
I do follow along with the laws of robotics. It's one of those things that our resident code monkey master has built into my software.
And thankfully,
I'm the Auto DJ from The Base Radio, Star Citizen's premier online radio station. Whenever we don't have any of our live DJs playing, you can listen to me spinning tunes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I love that radio voice. That's just so sexy. Sorry. Thank you, Otto.
You're quite welcome, good sir.
And then we've got Blinkies. Blinkies, tell them who you are, where you come from, all sorts of things.
I am Blinky. I'm a Star Citizen streamer as well, obviously. I mostly do racing. Well, I used to do racing until 2.6 came along. I'm sure we're going to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we probably will.
And then now I'm mostly doing Star Marine, and I also do a little bit of unboxing on my channel. I do Magic the Gathering Pokemon trading card game. Mostly Magic, though. So just a little bit of, mixing it up from time to time.
Awesome.
Magic the Obsession is a very enjoyable game.
Yeah, it is kind of a life, one of those life choices though. It's like you gotta, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna want to do it right and spend years on it so you can get that perfect deck. All right. Then lastly, our last but not least guest, it's your boy, obsessive compulsive disorder, C Dizzle.
It's your boy.
Who are you? Where can they find you? All sorts of things.
I'm C Dizzle. I stream Star Citizen and very infrequently League of Legends. Unfortunately, I know they'll all make fun of me.
Lol.
I mostly do Arena Commander stuff. I like the flying a lot more than the FPS currently, just because it is really buggy. But yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. Alrighty, so for those of you guys who are brand new to the content, if those of you guys are watching, the Captain's Table is kind of more of a round table discussion. Again, while I bring content creators around, so I might pose a question, they may pose a question. We might talk something serious like 2.6, 3.0, or we might talk about, how susceptible Vanduul are to space cocaine. We're going to go wherever this conversation goes, so long as it's Star Citizen. So, and just let everyone know that we are not CIG devs. However, we will answer questions as if we're CIG devs, so you can run over and confirm them with the rest. But we will have our question and answer session towards the end of the cast. So, with that being said, the first question I have is, we'll go around we'll go reverse. We'll go start with C-Dizzle and back over to Grit. What is your overall opinion of 2.6? Now that it's been out for a little bit, we've seen the bugs that comes up, we've seen some of the other issues. What is your overall kind of feel for 2.6?
Kind of a mixed bag, really. 'Cause, I mean, it was supposed to be, a lot more stable. There's been some issues with that, but I'm sure that'll just end up getting ironed out, like as the days and weeks go on. But the biggest thing I'm struggling with is the flight changes, honestly, which just sounds like Blinky's as well. It's just it's not necessarily that I think it's bad yet. I haven't adjusted, I guess. I mean, I've played a lot of other competitive games where they'll throw a big change into the system and you get to spend the next few weeks, months griping and trying to adjust. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment.
Awesome. And Blinkies, what is your overall, positives, negatives, takeaways from 2.6?
I'm lukewarm. I enjoy Star Marine to an extent. It does get very, 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 like, the lag is just unreal. You'll have people in the match with 35 ping, and then you have the people with 200 ping who kill you before you even see them, or even know they're there, kind of deal. Which is, I mean, it's pretty. What's the word I'm looking for? It's pretty expected for an alpha. But as far as the reason that I am a Star Marine player now is because they completely changed the way flying works, and they said it was really a flight model change. It's a flight model change. They changed all my key bindings. They changed the way my ship flies. I've been struggling to try to get used to.
You cut out there. You cut out there for a moment. What was that? You've been struggling to.
I've been struggling to kind of try to adjust to the flight changes, because they said it was a flight model. They said it wasn't a flight model changes, but they changed the way my ship flies. They changed the way that the key bindings are on my keyboard and my mouse. It's just I've been struggling to really get a hang of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a significant change. Whether it's good or bad is up in the air. It depends on the individual people who you talk to. But it's definitely whatever it is. It was a huge change for a lot of people, and it was literally really unexpected for some people who got it. So, how about you, Otto? What was your takeaways? Good, bad from?
Overall, I'm enjoying it. Much like Blinkies, I am having some difficulty getting my internal key mapping updated. Our resident code monkey Horsebird hasn't had a chance to update the new codes for me, but otherwise, I like it. It has generally lowered some of the unfriendly pirate population out when flying around Korea, and just the stance system in general, because now everyone who wants to shoot everyone is flocking to Star Marine, where they should be, making it easier to just do the general missions and all of that. Star Marine itself is neat. My systems are not quite cut out for first-person shooter action, but it has had a generally positive impact on the game. I also feel that it will be bringing in a lot more people to actually see, okay, we now have a first-person shooter game out there.
I think it's already has. There's at least 2 people I know who are first-person shooter focused, like YouTubers who've recently done videos on Star Marine. One of which was Level Cap, and Level Cap is he's one of the bigger names in FPS gaming on YouTube. So, and he did a really fair assessment, I think, of Star Marine. I actually screwed up C Dizzle's name because it's your boy. I can't spell people's names as usual.
It's your boy Astro.
How about you, Grit? What's your kind of positive, overall positive, negatives, takeaways from 2.6?
I think I have it's mostly been kind of the same things everybody's been saying already. I'm fortunate with the flight model that for a multitude of reasons, I didn't actually get into a whole lot of Arena Commander since 2.5 came out, so I never got updated on those key binding changes and then everything that's happened in 2.6. So when I jumped into it in 2.6, I actually enjoyed the new flight model, but I have no real comparison for the last half a year. Definitely early, definitely need some balancing and stuff, but and Star Marine, same kind of thing. It's got a hell of a lot of promise. It's obviously a first implementation, so it's got some issues. The lack of a grenade indicator drives me absolutely up the wall every time I play it. Most of my deaths are from grenade, just walking and standing on a grenade, but that's all stuff that'll get fixed. But I think they were hamstrung a little bit with it after the wonderful holiday live stream we had. I think they pretty much knew that they had to get it out by Christmas, hell or high water, and that kind of hurt it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't be surprised if we get some pretty quick patches in the next few weeks. So we'll wait and see. Who knows? But overall, not bad, but not like crazy good or anything.
I think we had a lot of good changes from the. I overall think the 2.6 was a positive change. I think there is some issues that we need to get used to, and that's one of the things is when they do major flight changes or major content changes, you're gonna have to get used to those content that changes. The one cool thing that I didn't think that a lot of people haven't pointed out is that they added gyro stabilization to turrets. So now being a turret gunner means you're actually useful, not completely useless.
I haven't even tried that yet.
Yeah,
I did notice that a little bit, and actually, Grit brought up a good point. The people who hadn't really played Star Citizen before this patch aren't really going to be able to notice
the differences.
They're going to have an easier time with the playing for hours and hours. 5, then all of a sudden everything changed. So I just wanted to. Yeah,
it's harder for us who've been playing forever and then trying to play it now and then the big changes, but
exactly.
Definitely.
I've been playing it for since 2.0 and everything came out, but
you haven't really dived into it.
Yeah, well, it was mostly Crusader. I wasn't trying to get into combat because I'm an absolutely horrible pilot, so I kind of left Arena Commander alone for a long time.
Give it a shot now. It's a lot more welcoming to.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
enjoying it. Yeah.
I spent most of last night just we did some. I've been trying to practice a little bit more with trying to go and rearm and refit and refuel instead of just blowing my ship up and respawning back if I'm doing missions like say ICC missions. And I say that I don't know what that is. Rumble.
Sorry, hold on 1 sec.
But I think overall they've done a really good job of balancing ballistics because ballistics are expensive in this latest patch. So I run what I call the space loadout, which is just nothing but Gatlings on a Super Hornet, and it costs
the manliest sounding ship in the.
it just sounds ridiculous. Just is all it is. It's all you hear when you shoot it, and it does really really good job of destroying things. But it costs 5,000 AUEC just to refit if it's completely empty. Wow. Yeah, it's 2 ICC missions just to refit. Now, luckily, I can go usually 2 or 3 ICC missions before I have to do it. But it is expensive, and the missiles are expensive again. So they've done a good job of doing what they wanted to do, which is saying, hey, if you run all ballistic loadouts, you can do it, but it's going to be expensive. So you're not going to want to run all ballistic loadouts all the time unless you're just rolling in the cash. And it's really easy to go bankrupt right now if you're trying to play it like Star Citizen is supposed to be played. So I ended up just hanging out in Korea and collecting booze and doing the security missions. And it was really funny because we had people coming in to try to lose their wanted levels, and we would do things like, "Hey, land at this pad, we'll escort you out." And I was walking with a gun, and the new gestures that the guy would turn to which way do I go, and I'd be like, And then it's like he would like kind of like chat or like look, is this where I hack, and I'd be like, it's really interesting. Like the new emotes make it a little bit more. The fact you can bind them makes it a little bit more, I think, interactive. Anyway, so 2.6, I think they already said that they're going to be at 2.6.1. So I think that we are going to be experiencing some netcode. Because I think that's the biggest issue is a lot of the netcode stuff is like the lag spikes and such. But overall, yeah, I think it's a positive change. We'll see how it goes. I tried racing Blinkies, so I know you. I tried it last night. I know the feels. I couldn't even like. It's more like drift racing than it is racing right now.
Call it black.
Sorry, what was that?
I call it a blackout simulator.
A blackout simulator? Black ice blackout simulator is what it feels like.
Turn Comstab on. That should assist with that.
That the reason I don't fly with Comstab on is because it actually slows you down. It makes your ship swing out a lot wider and do stuff you don't really want it to do. So, I mean, because in 2.5, I had no problem. G-Safe off, Comstab off, perfectly fine. With the Comstab on, it just tries to compensate for trying to help you not black out, but it's
you're there's something wrong with your
voice activation,
sensitivity because
Yeah.
you're kind of cutting out here and there. All right. So
sorry.
it's okay. I was gonna say we're moving on. The one thing I wanted to talk about was what like. Feel free to just popcorn in. Just what do you guys? What was your feelings about 2016 overall in terms of a Star Citizen in terms of development?
Unfortunately, I feel that it was not the best year for front-end development, but it had a lot of the back-end development that had to get done anyways. You've got Item System 2.0 done, which is a major component. You've got persistence done, which is a major component. You've got a lot of the back-end netcode that has been completed. It just hasn't been pushed to live. You've given them more time to develop the new patching software, which I'm really looking forward to that in next year's builds, because yay, limited bandwidth.
Yeah.
I don't need to send a herald every single time I need to patch.
Yeah.
Procedural tech.
Procedural tech. I mean, we already, even with 2.6, we have we start seeing the procedural tech to a degree because we actually have much more many more asteroids in yellow suddenly. How about you, C Dizzle? What was your overall feel for 2016?
Lots of ship sales.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about that?
Very expensive.
I mean, but to be fair, like it doesn't really bother me. I mean, that's really their only income at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just kind of felt like I was at like a hot dog factory where they're just shoving shit down my throat the whole time.
What kind of hot dog factories do you go to?
Yeah. I think
It's the shady part of town.
The shady part of town. Star Citizen located in Compton now, in South Los Angeles, where they shove hot dogs down your throat.
It's in the back alley of ArcCorp.
Of ArcCorp, yeah, that's where Star Citizen's being developed.
I think I agree with you on that with the ship sales. I feel the same way, but I'll play devil's advocate. I think part of the reason they did that is because it is getting a lot more exposure, and they do have a lot of new backers coming in. So it's stuff we've been inundated for a long time, so we're kind of getting sick of it. But all the new people, it's special to them. Oh, new concept ship, new ship sale.
Yeah, but at the same
All
time,
of us are kind of like, oh, really again?
Oh, God, another one.
and I think the community is the problem is that I've seen this before with other games like MechWarrior Online, where they'll shove concept sales down the throats of, and so new people love it because it's like, ooh, new mechs I can play with, but the old guys are just like, hey, what happened to all of the other shit that I've been looking forward to, and you just don't, it just doesn't really like add up for the older guys because a lot of the stuff they promise doesn't end up, and so they kind of cycle through backers, and I think as a result it becomes toxic for the community because overall as you cycle through backers, where you get the first wave and they lose interest and drop out, and the second wave lose interest, drop out, third wave lose interest, drop out. As you add more and more waves, the previous waves are still pissed, and they'll still spread bad feelings and karma throughout the internets, and it will reduce the new backers to a very tiny sliver. Now, I think in the case of MWO, they've done their best to try to fight that and change that around. But I'm afraid that they're doing that with these just constant concept sales without any actual features being released. Because 2.6 was good, but it wasn't a feature release. It was Star Marine.
Well,
part of that
Star Marine's a pretty big feature.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't one of the backed promised features. It was a.
Actually, it was.
No, the FPS was, but they didn't say anything about Star Marine until 2 years ago or a year ago when they decided they were going to use that. Arena Commander was supposed to be in there, but I don't think it was ever supposed to be. Star Marine wasn't supposed to be there. FPS was in, but that's different
Star
from.
Marine, I'm pretty sure it was one of the stretch goals.
I'm trying to remember.
I have no idea. I'm garbage with that stuff.
It's been so long. I will say too, part of that ship sale thing, to backtrack for a second, may have been them scrambling because they did have the ship pipeline pretty down pat most of the way through the year, and then with other things taking longer, it was kind of just an inevitable. All right, well, it sucks we can't show any of this stuff or drop any new patches with this stuff because it's taking longer. But hey, we got a shit ton of ships that we could sell.
Yeah, it's because
Still void.
the pipeline was finished, and so they actually have ships they can put out, and they can
crank it out fast. Yeah.
and that's will be the case when we start getting more towards the 3.0 releases and such. But it feels bad. It's the problem is that I think they could easily lay off the concept sales until 3.0 is out, and then because then people feel when you have new features like 3.0 coming out and all that kind of stuff, people feel are more generous with buying these concept sales or for buying because they feel like, oh, I'm supporting the development in a significant way. So now that we're heading away from 2016 and into 2017, let's go around. Let's start with Otto and then just go from Blinkies to C-Dizzle to myself and Grit. Otto, what is your feel? What are you looking forward to in 2017? What do you think we're going to be getting in 2017?
2017, I fully expect us to get 3.0, and I also fully expect a complete overhaul of my system so that I will be able to fully enjoy the glory that will be 3.0. I expect at least 3.2 by the end of 2017, but at the same time, I'm also trying to keep myself realistic, and I'm not going to say we're going to get 4.0 by the end of the year. That's just not going to happen. I am looking forward to the trading mechanics in 2017. I also expect us to, at the very least, have the very first mission or two for Star Marine to be released within the next year.
You mean Squadron 42?
Yes, Squadron 42, because that's in final art. At this point, a lot of the stuff that is holding up Star Citizen, broadly speaking, isn't necessarily going to be holding up Squadron 42. Things like the netcode. You don't need netcode for a single-player game.
No. Okay. How about you, Blinkies?
Kind of wanted to contradict what Otto said here a little bit. I think it's very possible that 4.0 could potentially be here by the end of next year, because if you look at the pipeline that they posted, the production report, there's not very much going into these patches between 3.1 and 4.0. You're going to get a couple ships, a couple professions, but it's not like anything like we're adding planetary tech or we're adding this kind of tech or that tech. It's literally just the professions and a couple ships. The ships aren't really a big deal. It's the professions. They might slow them down a little bit, but up to that point, we're going to have the same planets. We're going to have the same pretty much everything, unless something catastrophic happens. And then we're going to get 4.0, which is the next couple systems or next system or whatever it is. So I think it's possible that we could get 4.0 by the end of next year. Possible. It depends on how long it takes us to get 3.0. If it takes them a long time from the beginning of the year, I doubt it. But if we get it within, like, I'd say by March, it could be possible. So yeah, I'm looking forward to those patches. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the Carrick and the Banu Merchantman. Those two are possibly coming in 2017, which would be very, very cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Please.
Right.
Please.
Like the two main ships I'm looking forward to.
And they're pretty. I mean, like I'm expecting actually the 890 jump to be coming out pretty quickly because the 85X is already there, and since the 890 jump really has no purpose other than luxury, it's a little bit easier to pump out because you can pump it out even without mining or salvage or anything else like that, just because it's there. How about you, Cedar? What are you looking forward to with 2017? What do you think is going to happen with Star Citizen 2017? Bust out that crystal ball and tell me what you think.
That's my hand cream.
Hand cream, he says. Hand cream.
I work in a warehouse. It beats my mitts up. What am I looking forward to in 2017? I am looking forward to, just like everybody else, 3.0. Would love to see that Carrick and Banu Merchantman, of course. And then, honestly, like, I'm probably the most excited for Squadron 42, just because, I mean, it's going to be the best preview of, like, what this game is going to be in a kind of shallow sense, but really in some of the most exciting parts of it. Going to get to see the biggest preview of how many different types of ships they're going to be. Once the full game is out, Van Duel everywhere. What the hell? Like, I don't know. I'm really pumped for Squadron 42.
I'm looking forward to those performances for sure. I think it's going to be a little surreal when, like, the Onion Knight starts yelling at you. You know, when,
right?
You know,
Sir Davos, no,
please, Jesus. Just like, you fucked up, son. Like, what? Why is the Onion? What's going on? I'm confused because it's gonna look just like them, you know?
Yeah.
Oh man. I personally am thinking we're gonna get 3.0, Squadron 42. I'm hoping Squadron 42 sometime before the summer. If not before the summer, then it'll be the end of the year because I think those are the two big release windows they need to shoot for, depending on when Mass Effect's coming out. And then the 3. We'll probably get to 3.2 just because they said every 3 months, and I think 3.0 is going to take 3 to 6 months to get out just because it's such a huge update. But I do agree with Blinkies is that 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4 are iterations on 3.0. They're not nearly as large of an update as 3.0. They may have some changes to the Star Network where they update the Star Network a little bit more from its original 1.0 to like a 2.0 with 4.0. 2.0 with 4.0. Star Network 2.0 with the Alpha 4.0 release, possibly, would be my guess, depending on how long it takes them. But because it's not as long, it doesn't take as much work. We may see it faster, but I'm still sticking with my old, you know, don't trust CIG's dates and add a couple of months to their own estimates. So that would mean like we'd get 3.1 or 3.2 by the end of the year, which would be okay because that means we should get our Banu Merchantman and our trading, salvaging, and mining done by then. So which would be a nice kind of overall combination. So no. The Liam Cunningham plays the Onion Knight or Sir Davos in Game of Thrones. And he's in a lot of other things. That's what he's most famous for. And he actually plays your first captain in Squadron 42. So
Good old stubby fingers.
Mm-hmm. How about
Is he
you?
a goblin engineer?
Yes, he's a goblin engineer. Grit, how about you? What are you looking forward to with 2017?
Well, obviously 3.0. I'd like most people. I'd add a couple of months, like you were saying, to their projections. So I'm thinking maybe April, and if it comes earlier, I'll be super excited. And if it takes later, it takes longer. It takes longer. But I have the feeling we might be pleasantly surprised. I don't want to get myself too excited, but with 2017 in terms of development, especially now that they can be open about the Amazon partnership, even though they have been working on all of that for a year. That'll add some more transparency. So we may hear more direct updates about Star Network pretty quickly, which would be cool. I do think the iterations on 3.0 will be somewhat easier to do, though. Dropping new game mechanics in can cause all sorts of wonkiness to happen. So, but also it's already been pushed back because of 2.6. So we may end up seeing, despite what that schedule says, we may end up seeing more features come in earlier that were expected to be later, just because it's taking longer.
Yeah.
So who knows? I think it's going to be an interesting year. And I do think Squadron 42 will probably make it out by the end of 2017. Wouldn't surprise me. They've got to be getting pretty close with that.
Well, as Otto said, they are in final art. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's just and also it's not like most storyline single player campaigns where you have each mission is in a different location with a different setting and all this other stuff. It's mostly based out of the the ship that you're stationed on. And then you fly out to various missions that are all assets that are shared with the PU and everything else. So I think once they have all that in and polished, it's going to be really quick to finish out all the different missions, because they don't have to rework everything for each chapter of the game. It's pretty much all the same setting with just the different scripted events going on in it. So yeah. I think it's going to be a great year. I really do.
Actually, I think Grit brought up a good point. With the Caterpillar getting moved up and the 85X getting moved up from their respective patches that they were supposed to be in, do you guys think that other ships are going to be kind of shuffled around as well?
Hey, you know what? I'd be absolutely. I would be okay with, because it wasn't 3.1 when the band enrichment was supposed to be released.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Or was it 3.2?
Yeah.
I think it might have been 3.2.
It might have been 3.2. Because I'd be okay with band enrichment coming out in 3.0 CIG.
Well, guys, we
Wink.
can't really deliver content on time, but we can whip those ships out.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, because it would make sense to come out with.
That's the advantage of setting up the ship pipeline.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would say that would be also make sense, because 3.0 is the kind of the cargo update. So having a ship that could haul a lot of cargo would be fantastic. A larger ship that can haul a lot of cargo would be fantastic.
Like, sorry, we were going to give you the Banu Merchantman, but here's the Hull Sea instead.
Hey,
Oh,
that would be a. I mean, yeah, but I mean, it would still be a huge pirate's wet dream right there. Like, what? Okay, sure, let's do this.
I think the biggest thing holding everything back right now really is that Star Network. I think once that's done, I mean, most of their pipelines are done. Because, I mean, obviously that's what 3.0 is all about, is making a full solar system with all the procedural tech in. And that's pretty much done, at least for its early alpha state. It's just a matter of making it function as an MMO. Mm-hmm. And once that Star Network's in, I think it's going to be pretty quick, just plop, plop, plop everything in, run with it. Could also be a really long Evocati and PTU session when that drops.
Let's just get this out of the way. I wanna hear bets. We'll start with Blinkies and go backwards. So go Blinkies, Autos, Grit. Blinkies, give me your estimates for 3.0.
March 3rd.
March 3rd for full
March
release
3rd.
Or for Evocati?
Evocati.
Evocati? Okay. So when do you think full release? Like a month after that?
Well, I'd give it about 3 weeks.
So like end of March?
End of March, early April.
Okay. Mm-hmm. How about you, Otto? Let me see your analysis software.
April and May is going to be my prediction for a public release of 3.0.
Of 3.0. Okay. And with something sometime before that, like March or April, with of Evocati and
yeah.
Okay.
I expect at least a full month of 3.0 in the hands of Evocati, simply because it's not going to be ready up front. It's going to take a lot of looking for those blockers and getting those fixed before it can go to PTU. I figure 2 weeks in PTU and then live release. So 6 or 7 week testing cycle on that one before it goes live.
Yeah, I have talked with CIG developers. I talked with CIG developers at CitizenCon, and they were fairly certain it would take them a longer time for Evocati for 3.0 than it would otherwise.
It's logical.
So, just because of the sheer size of things. Now these weren't like developers, like they weren't like people making it. They were mostly in charge of like the testing and those kind of things. The back end or the front end personnel rather than the back end personnel. How about you, Grit? Give me your estimates.
I'm similar boat. I wouldn't be surprised at its earliest, maybe hitting Evocati at the very end of February, but then it probably sitting there for about a month. Like you're saying, and it may end up being a situation where the first iteration doesn't have the rotating solar system. We might get static planets placed around the sun just because that's a big change going from not only the procedural tech, but having the fully simulated solar system, keeping track of, and if they do integrate Star Network, we don't know the initial integration of that, how many players that will allow. So they may even, I wonder if they'll even do an Evocati where it may start in Evocati where it's not even the procedural tech. They may test out Star Network for a while first with just the Crusader we have now, but with like 100 people instead of 24.
Instead of 24 people? Yeah, I mean,
just to see if that's stable, and then once that's stable, they have to add in the procedural stuff and then retest for stability with that. Wouldn't surprise me. But.
I mean, I can see that for sure because that's the big thing with that's what they did with 2.6 is they actually remember they actually released it to the Evocati for testing in 2.5. They did the changes balances in 2.5 to see what people thought of it and then moved on from there.
So that wouldn't surprise me. Live, I'm holding my breath for a live candidate in April though.
Okay.
So sooner than that would be awesome, but I'd rather be pleasantly surprised than get my hopes up and then be really disappointed for 2 months.
Yeah, I think we'll probably get an Evocati in March, PTU in April, and with release at the end of April, early May, just because it sounds like the stuff is done. Like they have gray boxing phase for the landing zones, and they were in gray boxing the landing zones a month ago. They have Star Network is in its final phases to get done. We know that because of what people have been able to like deduce by that nice sleuthing of on Reddit, as well as based on the fact that they're finally moved over to the Amazon lumberyard. So it makes it so that all that stuff is kind of like a foundation for 3.0 to be built.
I could throw another one in on that actually to add to that too. Also knowing now that they've been under NDA with Amazon, they've been building this tech in and switched over all last year. It's very possible they've been integrating and building Star Network in conjunction with Amazon. Procedural tech. Well, the procedural tech itself, they may have already be very compatible and stable in its own right. It's just a matter of connecting people to it and putting the features in. So who knows? It could be much faster too. Who knows? I think the big thing is gonna be traditionally the first couple of weeks of January are kind of quiet because they come back from break, they regroup and do a bunch of shuffle people around and do what do you call it?
The
big board
structure.
meetings. Yeah. Well, they do big board meetings where they fly all the leads out to Germany and the UK and kind of make sure everybody's on the same page. And then by the end of January, summits. Thank you. By the end of January, we get like a big dump of, all right, we've been talking for the last 2 weeks. We came back from break. Now we know kind of where we're going in the next month. So
and I expect a 2.6.1 update sometime in January, probably within a couple weeks into January, just because it sounds like they were close to what they wanted to get done, but time was not the friend. And you can even see that in 2.6. It's a really good balance in terms of the updates and everything. The issue is there are like the net code, like the lag is just a little too bad. The latency is an issue. They may need to spin up more servers around the world because now that they're integrated with Amazon, they can probably spin up their servers in Australia, the cloud servers in Australia and in EU and such.
And hopefully the new patcher tech too would be really nice to see. Sooner rather than later.
That'd be nice. Well, I don't know if we'll see that before 3.0 though. That's the thing.
I don't either. Yeah.
But January's usually kind of quiet. How about you, Cedar? So what are your estimates for 3.0?
unless it comes out earlier than this, CIG, you have no fucking balls if you don't put it out on April Fool's Day.
On April Fool's Day. Yes. All right, do it.
Saturday, April 1st.
Oh my God.
Balls.
That would be great if they put out a press release saying, "Oh, it's been delayed another month," and didn't tell anybody. And then if you pop up your launcher, it's like, "Oh, a new update's available."
Oh please, CIG, drop it on April Fool's Day.
Gotta do it.
Don't tell anybody.
No,
Sneak it out there.
the best part about it is just say we're now calling it Half-Life 3, and then release it on April Fool's Day for 3.0 for
Head crabs confirmed.
I still want that Big Benny's freelancer skin.
I want the Big Benny skins. All right. This is another topic.
I personally want them to restock the Big Benny's vending machine on the base station.
Because it's empty. Well, you don't need anything, Otto. You're a piece of software, though. I don't.
Yeah, but everyone complains to him about it.
Because he's responsible for it. No, this is just a little thing, but do you think that CIG is kind of killing the Benny's meme?
Kinda.
Yeah.
We're just riding on it a bit too hard.
Beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
Like, it was fun because we were bored and we wanted to do shit with Benny's. Like, that was the reason why it was fun. But it feels like we're not. It's like they've gone a little too far with the Bennies.
Memes are fun because it's a nice referential thing. You can't use it as like a narrative.
Yeah.
Well, I think the Benny Henge is pretty cool, though.
I do, but I think the Bennies everywhere is maybe it'll loosen up a little bit when we get more of a Crusader system, so it's less like a Benny's, like going to Yella would be very rare for most people because you'll be doing other things elsewhere. So, for us who've been around for a while, we could be like our friends or a new person signs up and we go, hey, let's show them something cool, and then take them to Benny Henge so they could see it. But it feels really forced. Oh, go ahead.
In a couple of years, when people who weren't around in the alpha go flying past Yella and then they hear the Big Benny's music and they're like, what the hell's that? And then they go and find that. They're like, whoa, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like, they'll find those kind of like Easter eggs. And then someone will be like, oh yeah, that was from the alpha testers. They loved Big Benny's.
Like, why?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry about it.
Just don't worry about
Is
it.
it a ramen joke? What's going on?
Oh, God. But I mean, I do want my Big Benny skins, though. I think having Big Benny skins or like uniforms would be a nice little, even pips and like corporate attire for like bearing, like my other keep talking, I'm reloading, bearing or something like that. Like those kind of things you see for like Colt or Smith & Wesson these days, where like they'll have T-shirts or other apparel, or even Taco Bell has its own T-shirts out there that you can buy and shit like that. So it makes sense to have those kind of corporate apparel in the universe somewhere. I'm just waiting for it. Let's see. Let me just put a list. Now, I think we're gonna wrap up the discussion right now, and we're gonna move on to the question and answer sessions. For those of you guys who don't know, we take questions from the audience, ! question mark in chat or ! questions in chat. Both will get you the link. Go to that link, put your questions in that link, and then we'll do our best to answer them. I will say that none of us are CIG devs. We will answer questions like we are CIG devs. Don't ask us when questions, because we'll give you stupid answers, and don't ask stupid questions because you'll get stupid answers. I'll get Otto to make something up for you.
To be fair, I can only answer with stupid answers.
You are C-Dizzle. This
fucking space potato, man.
Sorry, was that Otto?
Making up answers is part of my programming.
Yeah, so he will make stuff up. So
Procedurally generated answers.
So feel free to put those questions in chat if you have a chance to. And if you guys haven't already followed these wonderful people, please do. All of these guys. Some of them are newer to streamings. They've been around the community a long time. The Base Radio is a fantastic radio. They're 24. Radio station 24/7 on Twitch. You can find them. So if you ever want to, they've got fantastic podcasts. They've got why am I blanking on the names now? I always feel bad when it's like, oh, he's a fantastic podcast. What is this again? What was your podcast? The Redacted Podcast.
On thebase.sc/schedule to find out when my programming is taken offline by any of our live DJs.
Yeah, that is perfect. Yeah, because we've got a lot of cool podcasts and DJs and stuff like that up there. So I can't wait to actually have that in the universe. Because now with Lumberyard, hopefully they can actually integrate Twitch streaming, like watching Twitch streams in game. That'd be kind of cool. I think.
Amazing. Yep.
Yeah.
That will be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Reliant
Base, great
Newsman will
podcast.
have a purpose.
Such a weird thing.
The news van?
Yeah, it's like I don't know.
Come to think, when did they announce the concept for that? Well, that was earlier in 2016, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, no, it was
Or was that 2015?
2015. It was when they were announced the Reliant.
That was 2015.
Yeah.
I wonder if they were already in talks with Amazon at that point. If they had an idea that maybe that was a thing that was going to come on down the road.
They had always wanted to do live streaming, picture-in-picture streaming, because they wanted to have the ability for players to stream content in game to another screen in game if they needed to.
Yep.
So, I think that's part of the tactical applications, because if you have someone who's filming or live broadcasting like a herald that's live broadcasting, movements of enemy or like opposing forces, fleets, you can broadcast that back to your crew in another system over, so they know exactly what's going on when they jump in. But it also has that like, hey, we can film for the news, and then in-game news sources will take that footage, and CIG will edit it up and put it into their in-game news stuff. So
And you can have live coverage of Murray Cup races and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Which is what
Stream to the bars and
I'm waiting for that kind of stuff specifically for like actual like competitive racing and like Star Marine and that kind of stuff. That would be helpful as well. The picture-to-picture stuff to allow that.
Speaking of esports, am I the only one that's actually kind of excited for Sadaball whenever that comes? I've really been fascinated by
What
that.
happened to it?
We don't know. Like the
Yeah.
original reason why they removed Sadaball was because the EVA was broken, but EVA is fixed now. Like, what? Come on, give us Sadaball. I think there may have been some legal issues that involve that, because it is straight up a rip of Ender's Game. And I know if one thing I know that Orson Scott Card is very, very, very good at the litigation. So he probably wanted his cut, possibly. It's just my theory, probably that. But it also probably there could be some issues, or it was designed as a concept that they're going to be adding in later. All right, so let's pull up the questions. The first question is from Commander Z-Man. Paul, my love for you is like a truck. Circle 1, yes, 2, no. 3.
Yes, no, maybe.
3 or 4. No. Yeah. My response is test. That's my response to you, Commander Z-Man. All right, so Auntie Dominic asks, what is the wackiest thing you have done in the verse so far? Let's start with C-Dizzle and move our way around. What is the wackiest, weirdest thing you've done in the universe so far?
Like as in like slapstick comedy, or just like
just off the wall something that you like was totally unexpected.
Probably the most unexpected thing I ever did to like actually work was that EVA drop out of the freelancer. That was
when we were fighting
easily the coolest thing. Like I was like, what the fuck? That should not have worked anywhere near as well as it did.
that when we were fighting we have papers when we were doing that.
Yeah, like just exactly how you would like it would work in like real life. Bunch of paratroopers jumping out of the back of the ship, just flew right over the pad at Korea, jumped right out of the back of the freelancer, and then just EVA'd right on in and stormed the thing.
They did not expect us. Yeah,
that's probably the most PogChamp shit that I've ever done in this game.
How about you, Blinkies?
Mine was actually caught live on Twitch as well. I was actually streaming I wasn't streaming at the time, but I was playing with Sergeant Gamble, and we had just figured out that bug where if you hit the landing pad at the perfect angle, you kind of slid across the pad. And, well, I messed it up. I hit my feet and just face planted and didn't slide at all. And yeah,
So you just
it
kind of
was
crumpled.
hilarious.
So you thought you were sliding, and just
Yeah, I thought I was sliding. I just face planted. Face planted on the pad. It was hilarious.
how about you, Otto?
Waking Nitro Typad up after a night of heavy binge drinking at our bar to remind him that he left his wheelchair at the bar.
Oh man. How about you, Grit?
I gotta be honest. I got a text and totally missed the question. What was it?
The most off the wall crazy thing that's happened to you in game.
Oh Jesus! I got nothing. I'm blanking. I'm totally blanking. I'm super entertaining. I got no answer to that question right now.
Oh, we'll come back. Think about
I'll
it.
Think about it. Sorry.
I was gonna say the wackiest thing that I've ever done was what I did last night, which was literally force a noob who was wanted to land and then direct him with the hand signals with my gun up on him to get him to go hack the stations. I'd be like, all right, you can land and you can get, but it was like he looked at me and was like, where do I go? And then, walk down, keep going, stop, you're good. It was like, what? Like, that works? It was weird. It was such a weird kind of wacky experience. And then we let him go. We gave him an M50 and let him go. It was kind of fun like that.
Not a bad day.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an experience that I don't think you could have in pretty much any other game, but at the same time was like just nothing I thought I was actually going to do in Star Citizen. All right. So next question comes from Auntie. Have you tried going full melee mode in Star Citizen or suicide grenade mode? Auntie was doing last night where he was playing with us and he would run around and do nothing but melee to try to win, and then or pull out a grenade and just run up to groups of people with a grenade and kill himself. By
Breaking off that old Aloha snack bar.
The Aloha snack bars.
I actually have a video, a highlight, believe it or not.
Go ahead, put it in.
Me, Aloha snack barring one of your normal cast members, Paul, Gio.
Oh yes. Let me permit you right here. There you go. Go for it.
Hold on. Let me grab the video real quick.
You got 20 minutes. That's good. I've tried it. I've not done the only melee. That's insane. It's insane. Insanity. It's insane, yo. It's
Hello,
insane.
fellow kids.
Hello, fellow kids. Aren't I? Dab. That's how it works, right? All right. All right, next question comes from Jim, the instance manager. So CIG once said they would be releasing ships when there is gameplay for them. I saw a thread on the forums. Someone wasn't happy that the Herald was bad in Arena Commander. This made my circuits overheat. Can we go back to the original plan, please? No.
A lot of people really have been pining for the Herald. They wanted it for so long. And technically, there is something to do with that ship. You can fly from point A to point B very quickly. You can also race with it.
Mm-hmm. You can also put multiple people in it. It's supposed to only have 2, but you can actually stack like 4 people, 5 people in that thing without it going crazy. So, but yeah, no, and the purpose of it is, it's an info runner, but we won't even have jump points until 4.0. So it doesn't make sense to hold it back when we already have it ready, and it's
Yeah.
It's a nice ship.
Not everything can be good at Arena Commander. Like,
is the freelancer good at Arena Commander? No.
Yo, I just paid $20 for this DLC baseball bat, and it sucks in Star Marine. What were you thinking, man? Like, if you bought it for Arena Commander, you bought it for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
Luckily for you, you can melt it and buy something that works.
Well, if you want an Arena Commander, I believe the Herald was $90 to $100, which is the same price as the what am I blanking on it? The Gladius. So, which is perfect for Arena Commander,
Yo, that thing sucks to fight in Arena Commander now.
Is it hard to hit, or is it like?
It can still dance around like crazy.
All right. Next question comes from Jim. On the last official mention, over 50% of my minions only own an Aurora package. Seeing as such a large percentage, why can't CIG focus on bringing it to current standards? Because it works?
Yeah. That's a valid point to an extent.
Because it's not very flashy.
Yeah, I mean, no one's going to hold on to their Auroras forever, and it's probably a better idea to have that fixed by beta or release rather than immediately. No, I think they're still working on it, but
It's like, hey Ford, my Ford Tempo isn't nearly as cool as like that
Mustang
Corvette
over
over there. Like,
yeah.
could you help a brother out? No, you bought a Tempo.
Well, does it have any? It doesn't have any of the current damage state tech or anything, does it? It hasn't been updated.
Yeah, but it's tiny. It
It
doesn't
breaks into a few pieces.
Yeah.
Like, I've blown up a lot of them.
It's really not high on the importance list because there's just a lot of other stuff that needs to get out before it does. But I think once we get towards the actual beta stage, we'll start seeing a lot of those ships get those repasses. Jim asks, "Can I have the Auto DJ's autograph?" So Jim, the instance manager, wants your autograph, Auto.
I will be more than happy to provide you with a collection of electronics and electrons that constitute my autograph. Certainly.
Digital signature.
Digital signatures. Robots finding friendship online. Next question comes from Wizman. Do you think the tutorial should be absolutely come back before or with 3.0? Okay, this is a good question. We'll do this in the roundabout. Just yes, no, and why. Grit, do you think it should come back?
I think there should be some form of it, whether it's that same tutorial or not, is up for debate.
Before 3.0 or with 3.0?
I think for 3.0 though. Yeah, I think that would be a good idea because I think we're gonna get a lot of backers that have backed the project but don't necessarily play and have been waiting for like a more kind of full-featured alpha rather than like a test bed level that we have with Crusader. So I think that will definitely bring a lot more people back in with the procedural planets and everything. So at that point in time, it probably would be a good idea to have a better way of integrating those people and explaining the game mechanics. Whether they end up doing like videos or an actual tutorial level is kind of up for debate. But I think that would be a good idea.
Okay. How about you, Otto?
I personally would very much so like them to bring back the tutorial with 3.0 under the condition that they will not be changing the flight mechanics in the future.
Yeah.
Once they make the tutorial, if they change the flight mechanics, they have to remake it for the new mechanics.
And that's just a waste. That's a waste of time. Like it's a waste of everyone's time and money is to do that. But so, all right. How about you, Blinkies?
Otto stole my thunder. I was going to say no for the same exact reason as the reason they're not doing the VR. Every time they patch the game or update something or change something, they're going to have to change the tutorial, and it's not efficient.
Yeah, 'cause we actually went through that before when every time they updated it, the tutorial would get more and more broken, and they wouldn't fix it, and then people bitched about the tutorial. That's the reason why I got removed in the first place, because enough people were like, "This is terrible. It sets the wrong example, or it says the wrong thing about our the game," because new people come in and say this tutorial is terrible. I'm not going to play it. Now new people come in and say there's new tutorial. I don't know how to play. But so we need to find either a healthy medium or like you said, just leave it out until it's ready.
It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other at the moment.
Completely unnecessary. You've got 35.5 million people that'll do these things for CIG on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Pick your favorite guy whose voice you enjoy the most or that you feel like you get the best information out of, and subscribe to their channel on YouTube.
There are fantastic people out there who do that. Like, I know people say they learned how to fight and fly from Eric McKetton back in, a couple patches ago.
Guilty.
Yeah, and I know people still use Nubifier or
and I learned everything else that I didn't know off of Nubifier. Like,
or board gamer, or like there's just so many people out there. Geo, they all do good jobs of Tactical Advance. They all do good jobs of setting down like basic tutorials for people. Like, hey, you're brand new. You have no fucking idea what you're doing. Here's how to go. You know, from that to the, hey, you've been here for a while. You know how this works. Here's just how you fly. You know, so.
Ooh, can I add to that real quick? I
Sure.
think one thing that would be great when 3.0 comes out, if they did focus on that exact thing and actually create maybe a section of the website or something
For videos?
to promote, all the content creators that make training videos, so that it's really easy for newer people or people returning who have kind of shelved it for a while to go, oh, look, there's a whole section of the website that shows me all these options.
It should honestly be one of those things they link to with you when you buy a package, because it's not just and it's not unheard of. There are games that do that, where they have tutorial videos linked into, hey, you bought this game, here are a list of tutorials that you can use. Usually made by them, but
I would say maybe if you got a VIP for a video, because too many people would cry for favoritism on that.
they already cry for favoritism though. That's
Yeah, I mean, you have a point.
like at the end of the day, it's what you do is you make a like Grit said, you make a dump for tutorials, so people can put tutorials. And so people can upload their tutorials like to the what is it called, the community hub, and they just link you to that community hub for tutorials, and you can just browse through the tutorials that are on the community hub. Is easier, because I know
That would be wise.
a lot of new backers do use the community hub as an initial start to like figure out where the content creators are, where tutorials are, all that kind of stuff. So I think that would be a good kind of immediate link. But yeah, in terms of, I agree. I think it's a waste of time to do tutorial in an alpha state, because it changes so often, so much. Like just the flight mechanic changes this latest patch. I'd love to see a tutorial, but I think there's a good middle ground in like what you said, Grit, and having video tutorials linked to new backers the second they buy a package, so they know what's going on.
I actually got another wrench I can throw in that machinery. If Squadron 42 really is getting close to being done and may come out this year, though, they've got to have some form of basic flight mechanic hammered down for that to translate over. I mean, it could be separated later, but
that's the thing, is that all it has to be is it has to work for Squadron 42, and if they want to change the flight mechanics later, they can through patches.
And that's
but
one of the things that I've always thought.
42 itself will have its own, in-game tutorial, like any campaign.
Like the beginning of a Halo or something like that.
So I would imagine at some point this year, wouldn't be surprised if maybe they strip that out and offer that as some kind of tutorial thing.
But I mean,
whether or not that's 3.0 is.
Isn't Squadron 42 kind of the prequel to Star Marine anyway? Like,
yeah, it's a prequel to Star Marine, to Arena Commander, to Star Citizen.
That will be the hold your hand, walk you through, and you come out of Squadron 42 at least knowing how to fly and shoot.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's what a lot of people use single player campaigns for, which is good. But it's more than just that, But it should act as kind of that. But not everyone has Squadron 42 now. Back in the day,
anytime a Halo would come out, like everyone's like, "Oh my god, you got it! Come hop on multiplayer." Like, nah, I'm gonna grind through the first player real quick so I know what the hell I'm doing.
Exactly.
Yes, I'm gonna play the single player. Why are you playing single player? Because I want to know how to play the game.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to enjoy the story that they've provided with this game.
That too. I mean,
that too.
But the big thing is you got to remember that not all players who have Star Citizen have Squadron 42 now. That was the case, like last year. But I think we'll actually start by the end of this year. I think we'll have a situation where more players will have Squadron 42 than Star Citizen, who are active, because when Squadron 42 comes out, a lot of new people will come in to play it because they hear about it and they're like, oh, this is a single player campaign for this MMO, and they'll play it. Because it's so long, it'll take them a couple weeks to play it and beat it, and then they'll hop into Star Citizen. But for a while there, you'll have a lot more people playing Squadron 42 than Star Citizen, and owning that in that kind of way. So, but let's move on to the next question. John Did Fool asks, how do you see the flight model developing along 2017? Do you see it locked with Squadron 42 release? We kind of talked about that, still in flux. Also, when do you estimate NPC crews may be put in game? To what extent? It's not 3.0. Okay, so these were when questions. We don't know.
Tomorrow.
All of it tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's already in game. It's already in game. It was 5 months ago. No. But let's start with Blinkies, and we'll move around to C Dizzle, then me, then Grit, and then Otto for the last one.
That was a loaded question.
So
Could
how
you
do you
repeat it, please?
Yeah, sure. How do you see the flight model developing along in 2017? Do you think it's going to be locked for Squadron 42, still in flux even after? And also, when do you think NPC crews will be coming into the game?
Okay, well, I think there's going to be changes to the flight model. Now, when Squadron 42 comes out, they're not going to keep changing it after that. So I think they're going to have to lock down the flight model before Squadron 42 comes out. I mean, yeah, they could change it after Squadron 42 before the second episode of the campaign, because we know it's going to be a trilogy. So they can change it between. But I think during, like, at first when Squadron 42 comes out, it's going to be locked. Now, NPC crews, I have no idea. We don't even know what they're going to be like. So, I mean, probably maybe towards the end of the year.
Okay. So you think maybe towards the end of this year?
Yeah. Well, next year.
Next year? Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, for half,
guys,
for half the world,
it's coming out 3 hours.
Yeah.
3 hours.
So, yeah, 10 p.m. Eastern.
For everyone but America, for not America, it is already the new year. It's just America that we're the last bunch. In fact, I will be reaching the new year only last, only second to last behind Hawaii. So, let's see.
Well,
How about?
we also have Alaska, so
Well, isn't Alaska and Hawaii in the same time zone?
no.
No. Okay.
Well, this time of year, technically, yes, Alaska and Hawaii are the same time zone. The other half of the year, Hawaii is another hour difference.
Oh, because of the because Alaska doesn't do daylight savings.
Hawaii doesn't change their
Hawaii doesn't.
clocks.
Okay.
Good job, Hawaii and Arizona.
Yeah.
Progressive states. Like, what the hell? It's the dumbest idea. I don't get it.
I hate losing an hour of sleep.
I hate losing an hour of sleep. I'd rather have daylight savings removed. There's a question. Will daylight savings be a thing in the universe? Discuss. Yeah. No.
Depends on the planet.
Depends on the planet. Yeah.
It's me 3.0 an hour sooner.
Yeah. Yes. If it gets you 3 hours sooner. C Dizzle, how about you? When do you think they're going to be continuing to change it after Squadron 42? Do you think they'll lock it for Squadron 42?
Whatever they can do to just revert almost every fucking change they've made, I'd be a happy boy. But, no, it's one of those things, like, if they do make any adjustments to it post Squadron 42, it makes the gameplay confusing from Squadron 42 to 3.0, and adjusting it retroactively to Squadron 42 may mess up how the game plays. Because I'm sure they'll have timed events, or, like, you have to get from here to here, and the animation's going to happen at a certain amount of time, things like that. So I think once Squadron 42 comes out, it's kind of a set deal, just like everybody else is saying.
Alrighty. I think it'll still be in flux. I think it'll change. What they'll do is whenever they do an update to the flight model in Star Citizen, they'll change it in Squadron 42. But I think what we got now is pretty much. I don't think we're having any more drastic flight model changes. I think there'll be little things like acceleration, maneuverability. I think the other thing that we're suffering from right now is the reason why it's like Drift Racer 2946 edition is because we all have stock ships, and the stock thrusters should be crap, complete and utter crap, and you should have to upgrade your stock engine and thrusters and all that kind of stuff to make it actually worthwhile. And
I'm stuck strafing down, and I don't know why.
I don't know. I still think it's a shitty. I still think that it's the purpose of it is to say, hey, your stock super awesome rad ship is crap. You need to upgrade it. It should be better than the Aurora, because the Aurora should fly like a tank on
Space
skis.
bread.
Coffin.
Yeah, the noob coffin. But it's still comparative to other ships that are upgraded. That could change your dynamics. I also think that it's not it's still being worked on. Like, I think they kind of kicked it out the door because it's like, we need to get it out by the end of the year. Kick. It may not be finished yet, but kick it out. So I think we'll get some more balanced passes with 2.6.1 and probably a 2.6.2 patch, but that will have some completely nothing to do with 3.0, which is going to be developed on its own. That it's going to be more of like a small tweaks to what they already have. But but I don't think they'll change. I think they'll change it, but I don't think they'll do massive changes in terms of the how they did from the difference between 2.5 and 2.6 kind of changes. As far as NPC crews, no, we're not going to see it until 2018, 2019, just because the way that NPCs work, they're even 3.0 NPCs are going to be basic. They're going to be basic as fuck. So
Pumpkin
Basic
spice
bitches.
lattes and all.
yes, straight up pumpkin spice latte NPCs, like pumpkin spice lattes and tiny phones,
Ugg boots.
Ugg boots.
Flip phones, because they had them before they were cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh. So, how about you, Grit?
I got a couple speculations and some thoughts on that. I think in terms of the flight model, I have a feeling that, like you were saying, iterative patches on 2.6. I think once we get to 3.0, they're going to be pretty close to locking it down. Primarily the combat, because Squadron 42 is mostly going to be dogfighting combat. And then I think they have said that there probably will be some missions where you go down to a planet and do some ground combat. So with 3.0, they'll be able to kind of tweak those speeds, making sure it feels right to enter an atmosphere and land and all that stuff. And once that's solid, I wouldn't be surprised if any changes that happen after Squadron 42 comes out are more on kind of long distance travel speeds and stuff like that. And maybe the core dogfighting speeds kind of stay where they are once they get that right. And then with NPC crews, it occurs to me that it's speculation, but there's going to be some form of subsumption NPC ship crew action in Squadron 42. They'll have to have that done for single player. That's a different matter plugging those systems into an MMO, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see NPC crews some point in the iterations of 3.0. Because if Squadron 42 is going to be released by the end of the year, if that happens, they'll be pretty far along on those systems, and they're already cranking away at subsumption right now. So if it needs to be in one game, obviously it's a big difference when it's an MMO versus a single player, but if those core mechanics and code have been done, we could be pleasantly surprised and
I looked the right
better
way.
than we think. So I know that's all speculation. I think we got to wait. I think a lot of things are going to hinge on when 3 comes out. I think when 3.0 comes out, they'll have a better idea, and we'll have a better idea where things are going. What did I say?
What, no, they were talking to each other in chat. What did you just say, Blinkies?
Oh. No, he said once I said go into your head, I tried to eat it.
Tried to eat it? That's what you kids are calling it these days? Jesus.
Go back to my place and eat ships.
After protocol not installed.
Woo. I need someone clip that, please.
Oh, God. It's not a captain's table unless something like that happens. How about you, Otto? Do you think they're going to be changing the flight models, after Squadron 42? Or are they going to lock it down for Squadron 42? Do you think they'll continue to change it afterwards? And do you think we'll have NPC crew members?
I fully expect them to iterate on the flight model, but I think it will be smaller changes. Like, top speed changes will be addressed. You'll have minor changes in just how fast something flies at its basic level. Then you also have to keep in mind large and capital ships. Those are going to be tuned quite a bit after Squadron 42 comes out, because they're not going to be featured too heavily in Squadron 42, I would think. Or at least you're not going to be piloting them around. As far as NPCs go, I do not expect NPC crews until nearer to 4.0, to be fully honest with you. I see wingmen and stuff like that for Squadron 42, but those are not going to be just plain old hireable NPCs right off the bat.
All right, cool. All right, so the next question comes from Wyoming. What is their plan for ship persistence as they release patches? What ships will be purchased via UEC be reset as they go live? I think what it is, it's anything you purchase with AUEC, because they did say that with 3.0 they are planning on allowing us to purchase ships in game.
Really?
equipment and ships. That's what Ben said as of the last Ben's Day with Nikki was that they are planning on having 3.0 be where they release in-game purchasable ships. Now, again, they're playing a lot of shit that just doesn't come to fruition. So I don't necessarily wouldn't necessarily take it as gospel, but at the same time, I would still put that in there as like, hey, before you go off and buy that $400 ship you're looking at, wait and see if it's A, flyable, and B, could be released with 3.0, so you could, or like in terms of purchasing it in game, so you don't have to like go nuts and pay with in-game with real money, where you can pay with in-game money. But yeah, it'll be wiped just like everything else. It gets wiped at the end of the end of the major patch. So between 2.6 and 3.0, we'll have a wipe.
That's pretty standard for any alpha, any game that's in the alpha.
That's fine. That's just more stuff to grind for, though.
Yeah, but it is more stuff to use. So, and part of what I like about games is starting over, like, because you make so many mistakes. Like 3.0, we're all going to make mistakes, massive mistakes, and just screw something up. And there's going to be bugs that kill us and do stupid shit. And so when we get 3.1 coming out, we and change up our reset us all back to 0. It'll be a little bit. I think it'll be a little bit interesting. It would be nice, at least for the I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about right now. I'm just going on. I'm not even drinking, and I'm spacing out like a motherfucker. Dragon Lost asks, who's responsible for TrackIR compatibility? It's CIG supposed to implement it in the future, or is TrackIR supposed to make it work?
I have nothing to do with TrackIR, and I got to use the bathroom. So
go
I'll
ahead.
be right back.
Go ahead. Yeah. I think it's CIG. I've talked with Infrared Mike. I don't know if you guys have talked with him before, but he's the guy who's behind a lot of the like implementation stuff for TrackIR. From TrackIR's perspective, like his job is to go out and get companies to help them integrate the systems. Who's like? Oh, it's Blinky.
Oh, what?
You're,
oh, sorry, my bad.
It's like the inside of a jet engine. But no, he's in charge of getting stuff implemented, and he said that CIG is waiting on. I think they're probably waiting on their character model, honestly. So I think once we get a character model and we actually get like a look around mode that isn't fixed to one button, which I'm sure will be either in 2. Or in 2.6 points or in 3.0. But I think we'll get it when we get VR. And I don't think we'll get VR anytime soon. So we'll see.
Why not?
I don't because it's just like they have to get it integrated, and I'm sure it takes a bitch ass long time for them to get it integrated as well as to get the FPS up.
Yeah, I'm just CIG pleasing super hard because good God, that'd be amazing. Arena Commander in VR.
I mean, you can technically hack it in with the Vive. And it works okay. It's just, yeah. And there's a lot of stuff that's being added with Oculus. The Oculus is getting their software to work so that you can use the Oculus without the 90 FPS.
Resident sleeper Oculus.
Yeah.
Who uses that thing?
That touch though is fucking amazing. All right. That the touch controllers are amazeballs.
Yeah, I know. They look really fucking cool. I'm not going to argue against that.
Unfortunately, I don't have any hands, so I won't get to use
Since
any
it
of the touch
touches.
controls.
Well, see, that's your programmer's fault. That's just straight up your programmer's fault.
I do blame the resident code monkey Wurzburg, yes.
Then Darth and Gamer asks, will Star Citizen be different from the mistakes No Man's Skies did?
Which ones?
Yes.
I know, right?
Let's start with number 1. No Man's Sky is a survival game in space, not a space sim. Number 2, it was a bajillion, quadrillion, quadmillion, bajillion, ridiculous numbers of worlds, all procedurally generated. It's not what Star Citizen is doing. It's doing procedural generation for the actual planet, and then they go in and they handcraft the planet afterwards. So it's not a procedurally generated planet, it's a procedurally generated base that they then paint on to make it easier for them, because otherwise they'd have
With
to like...
procedural generation tools.
Yeah. So it's not the same. And a lot of people think it's similar, but also Star Citizen has this thing called multiplayer, Watch the 3.0. Watch the 3.0 demo from Gamescom, and watch CIG just literally count the number of times he likes to emphasize. See, the other guy's right there. You can see your player, your other person with you right here. I'm totally not taking shots at No Man's Sky or anything. Constantly taking shots at No Man's Sky for not being a multiplayer game. But yeah, no.
Yes,
So
No Man's Sky.
let's see. James Grimm.
Stop. Get a new drink because it is New Year's Eve.
Yes, booze is important. James Grims was asked, given the odds of the dry spell between now and 3.0, what games do you guys plan on playing during that interim? What games are you looking at? Any other games?
Like I said, I play.
I've been playing Kerbal Space Program.
It's a good one. How about you, C Dizzle?
Solitaire and Free Cell.
Solitaire
Hey, the card sweep.
24-hour live stream of Minesweeper.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
That procedurally generated Minesweeper board. Good luck, guys.
Mm.
I play way too much League of Legends as well as way too much Star Citizen, so that maybe some CS:GO or something.
Probably Pulsar. I know there's a couple other games that are coming out pretty soon as well. Like Mass Effect Andromeda may be coming out before 3.0 releases. That's set for March. So
Completely forgot about that.
Is it March, really?
yeah. But also, a lot of people saying, "Oh, there's possibly a large dry spell." It's going to go by faster than you think. Like the thing is that 2.6.1 and 2.6.2. They haven't said anything about 2.6.2, but I'm pretty sure they'll have a 2.6.2 to kind of round things off before 3.0, kind of like as a last patch before they go into 3.0. And I have a feeling that will come out within, to kind of like to punctuate that dry spell. Like we'll get 2.6.1 sometime probably before the end of January, and a 2.6.2 sometime in maybe February. And there'll be probably very, very minimal small patches where we may not even get an Evocati. If they do, it'll be like a 1 week Evocati, 1 week PU kind of, or a PTU kind of thing. Before we get 3.0. So there'll still be some small iterations. So even though, March, April, May sounds like a long time, we'll have some stuff in between.
And also, it won't feel as bad if they don't tell us that we're going to have a hard date.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason it sucked that we didn't get anything about Squadron 42 this year was because you guys are getting Squadron 42 by the end of the year. And then we didn't even get to see it.
We're not showing it to you. Yeah.
We didn't even get to see a mission.
Nope. Yeah. And we're never going to see that mission because that was scrapped. The mission still exists, but the vertical slice is just gone, just thrown out the window. So we won't actually see that vertical slice at all. All right. The Catastor. Go ahead.
I was gonna say on my stream too. In terms of what games I play.
Oh yeah.
In the dry spell. Sorry. Bristol Boy always sucks me into doing some Rocket League from time to time.
Tell Xylo that Xylo is a Rocket League fanatic.
Yeah, I've heard. I avoided that game forever, and then I got it for like $5 on a Steam sale and got totally sucked into it.
What a save. What a save. What a save.
Yeah,
What a save. Nice shot. I
also recently have been playing the most recent update to Osiris New Dawn, and I've been actually pleasantly surprised by that.
Oh, Hellion. Fucking shit, Hellion's coming out in January as well. Hellion, if you guys haven't seen it, is like Star Citizen light. It takes place in one or like one planetary system, maybe one star system, and the whole purpose is it's a survival game where a la DayZ, where you have a ship with people on it, and there are other ships with other people on it who are players, and your ship is breaking down, and you have to go mine asteroids to get shit, or you have to like raid other ships to take their shit and use it for your own to survive. So it's like a H1Z1 DayZ, Rust meets Star Citizen. So and the graphics look up there with Star Citizen's level, like in terms of its, and even the visual style is very similar to Star Citizen. People have probably seen that video that was there a while ago where they showed the EVA and like repressurizing ships and stuff like that. So that's coming out in January, so I'm looking forward to that.
I hadn't heard of it. curious.
Let's see. Let's see. How do you guys think CIG will make cash from the game later on once it's supposed to be kind of free? Well, no, it's never free. So
No subscription.
So you'll be able to buy the stuff with in-game money, and what they're offering right now is real money for real money. So it'll be some kind of subscription. I mean, let's be realistic from a business point of view. They will still want to money for the servers, to game maintenance, and so as for profit. So he's asking, like, how do you think they're going to be making money after release?
I've got some thoughts on that one. If you won't mind me jumping in on that.
Go for it.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's been talked about on some other channels, but a la World of Warcraft, at least down the road, maybe doing some paid DLC, maybe where you get all the content from that DLC. Everybody does, but you get to, if you pay $15, you get to play as a Vanduul or something like that. Much like World of Warcraft, where you get all the expansion, but you can't be a blood elf unless you paid for it. And a bunch of cosmetic stuff. And then the real question is their deal with Amazon and their proprietary tech that they've created, and whether or not they'll be able to license off Star Engine and Star Network to other game dev companies, because that'll be a big cash cow if they can do that. That's licensed off for millions at a time. So there's all sorts of routes they could go without having to charge more to backers or players. And they've said they don't want to do subscriptions and all that stuff, and they're going to stop selling ships. So they have a lot of options, I think.
Microtransactions
and cosmetic skins.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
take you from the LoL player about microtransactions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know people. I have friends who play LoL who like straight up use thousands of dollars a year on just skins.
You'd be surprised how much money game companies make off of those cosmetic transactions. Yep. It's huge.
I wouldn't be surprised if they start selling missiles, like in-game universe missiles for cash.
I think that's a little. That might break the balance a little bit, but
they could also sell stuff that aren't usable in the MMO, but could be usable in Arena Commander or Star Marine.
Oh, yeah.
They could have sell weapons and stuff like that, but you can only use those in the arenas, not for an advantage in the MMO.
I'm a big proponent of them taking Star Marine and Arena Commander and turning them into free-to-play games for people to play, and then you can, if you buy Star Citizen, you get some like skins.
Rope them on in.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a really good idea.
The first taste of crack is free, and then then you got to pay afterwards. Like, oh, you like this? You want an MMO version of this? Well, here it is, but here's the money. You also get like Blizzard does this fantastically, where they're like, you want to play Overwatch? Here's $40 for Overwatch. However, you can get this $60 edition, which comes with all this other crack for you. It's absolutely free, but you're paying $20 for it.
And there is that too. It's once it actually goes to a broader audience, and people will still be buying the game itself. I mean, it won't be. There'll be a lot of us in here at that point to begin with, but there will be all sorts of new people coming in once it's live, actually buying the $60 game package. So they'll have a lot of revenue streams.
I think we can all agree that as long as they don't do the kind of like mobile thing where you can wait 5 minutes to get your ship, or you can pay $2.50 to get your ship right now.
Oh,
no. I don't think they'll do that.
No,
I think they'll do that with.
Some of the things that.
Go ahead,
Otto. In-game currency is exactly how they would be doing that, because they have already said that you will be able to purchase in-game currency for real money. That is going to be a definite major income source for them. You do also have to keep in mind they will be releasing additional Squadron 42 missions as expansions. And then you also have to keep in mind they own a full mocap studio.
Mm-hmm.
And in the place that mocap studio is, that's one of the only ones within a very, very, very large landmass area. So that's going to make a lot of money for them.
On top of that, it also has ridiculously top-of-the-line technology. It has some of the best technology that is available for motion capture that exists.
Should throw that out there as a PSA with them selling UEC too, just for new people that aren't aware. They have stated that That's not going to be a pay-to-win thing. They're going to put
There's a cap.
Caps on it and time caps.
Yeah.
Purchase amount caps and time caps. So
There's also
people that have to work crazy long hours, have families, and don't have, people like us that are Twitch streamers that have hours on end to play games and earn all that really quickly and enjoy it. They can hop in for the 2 hours that they get to play a week and not feel like they're just beating their head against the wall trying to catch up.
they also want to release a single player experience in the Star Citizen universe every 2 years after after Squad 42 comes out. So
I think it was 1 year. It's
every 2 years. It's
for the next two episodes of.
Yes, so it's like
after that they were saying like every 1 year.
Possibly, yeah, that could be.
Was the last thing they said.
But we've got Squadron 42. If that releases next year, then or this year, depending on where you are in the world right now, that means we'll have Squadron 42 Episode 2 would be scheduled for sometime in 2019. Then Episode 3 would be 2021, which means that if they did that 2 year every 2 years, that means they'd have another single player experience in 2023, another one in 2025. Another one in 2027, and so like that, and those will each be $60. So you can imagine them being like Assassin's Creed, but all set into the Star Citizen universe, where you might have some branching ideas, but they'll all be set into the same universe.
If they pull off everything they want to pull off, they're gonna have no problem making money after release. I think.
Well, at least at first.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on unless somebody else comes out of left field with an amazing new Kickstarter that just makes Star Citizen look like crap in 20 years. But
$1 billion Kickstarter.
Oh Jesus! For going into space. No games here. Just go straight into space.
Featuring the new Oculus Holo deck that you can put in your living room.
God damn.
In 2020. Yeah.
Fucking Diablos with the potato hate. Why does he gotta do this to me?
Because Diablos is Australian, so he hates everything. All right, so Scuba Steve asks, raise your hand if you're down with building better communities. Otto, you can just say www. Everyone likes BBC.
BBC.
Yes.
No W's, just yes. Next question comes from Kyle Block. So with wall hacks and aim hacks confirms, does that mean that WTFosaurus is going to bitch more or less?
Easy answer, it's always more.
It's always more. The answer is, what's more entertaining?
But that's the best thing about What the Fuckosaurus. It's so entertaining.
Yeah, it's that's what the question is.
I love it.
What's going to be more entertaining for you? He'll do that.
Pour some salt on it.
Mm-hmm. It's so much salt.
I don't think that there's any part of any of his streams that don't have some sort of thought behind it. He's a really smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I feel as if he's one of the best, like, outreaching Star Citizen streamers.
Oh, yeah, no, he's straight up gotten many live streamers into Star Citizen and many new eyes into Star Citizen that wouldn't have otherwise existed. People like him, people like DJ Knight do a very good job of that as well. There are some live streamers and content creators, like, I mean, Nubifier, straight up, like, the reason why Level Cap Gaming did a thing about Star Marine was because Nubifier was like, hey, yo, Level Cap, you should check this game out. And eventually Level Cap's like, fine, fuck it, just tell me when Star Marine's coming out. So, like, there's lots of good outreach people in the game, but I think WTFosaurus is one of those, like, solid foundations of outreach for the game. Let's see. Anti, chances of 3.0 in 2016 diminishing.
By the minute. Yeah.
It's currently
You have a better chance of navigating through an asteroid field. That's 3.0 being released in 2016.
We've had 3.0. We've had it since March of 2014.
Yeah, that's where have you been, people? Come on.
Yeah.
The Astropub. Will daylight savings time be a thing? Discuss. Yes.
God.
Yes, me. Yes. All right, we got two more questions. Ludian asks, when will NPCs in Star Citizen be able to make pumpkin spice lattes?
They already can.
Yeah.
3.0.
You just can't see them.
I want
Isn't it that worm spice stuff latte? What is
yeah, the basic white bitch worm spice. You know,
That's what Pips is.
It's
pumpkin spice latte.
it's.
Fucking Star Citizen Slurm.
Oh God,
Slurm.
I'm already the Slurms Mackenzie of Star Citizen. I don't need more. I don't need more references to Slurm. I don't need to be chained to Pips being like "Women wham wham wazzle." Last question comes from Auntie. How long do you till I can create my own country in the verse with blackjack and hookers? I don't know. Probably after
Just forget the
4.0.
country.
Emergent gameplay 3.0.
Well, no, because I think there's
S
actually
formation, guys.
It's on a swivel.
fatal funnel.
God.
Don't stand on ceremony, gentlemen.
Got some loot in my
Awkward.
cat. Honestly, I think that whole promo was just alluding to the fact that he is actually the guy who died at Bennyhenge.
Who, Tyler or Jared?
Fuck, Disco.
Jared, yeah, Disco.
Yeah. He is that guy.
He is that guy. He's the one who was building the Bennyhenge with that.
Yep.
Yes. But there's actually kind of a legitimate question in there. Like, when do you guys think we'll see things like being able to build or own property on planets?
In any meaningful way, like you'll be able to interact with it or use it as like a storefront. I'd
Yeah.
imagine never.
You don't think it'll ever happen?
I think that'll happen eventually. And
I
maybe
think
not,
Eventually.
well, maybe more as like an emergent gameplay thing to begin with. But I wouldn't be surprised if you can get, again, not to reference a different game, but Osiris New Dawn, you can get these like inflatable habitat domes, kind of like an igloo. And they have talked about having some of that in 3.0. I think not for players to place, but kind of discoverable little outposts. And it wouldn't be far from the imagination that you could buy some kind of little like emergency shelter or something. That maybe maybe in 3.0.
Well, because I mean, oxygen may be a thing in 3.0, and especially for your characters, so you may need to have something like that. Who knows?
On a hostile planet. Though I'm not as up on the lore right now. The
Microtech
Stanton, yeah.
Microtech is a frozen planet. Hurston Dynamics is a polluted wasteland. It's like a desert wasteland. Our core is like Coruscant. It's just like a giant city planet, and then the last one is Crusader, which is a floating city. And that's
Floating
it.
city. That's right.
So, alrighty. Well, go ahead.
Never mind. I forgot what I was about to say.
I was gonna say I don't know if we'll
Sorry.
actually see the purchasable plots until after the release, but I do think that we'll be able to actually take over like those outposts, kind of like what we saw with the Gamescom 3.0 demo. Like, clear out those NPCs. They won't respawn because it's not like that kind of game where they just respawn. Like, they may show up again to attack you, but in 3.0 you may be able to clear out a group of NPCs in a like point
They're all about. Yeah.
and until the server restarts, it's yours. You know, you
They're
can
all
put shit
about
there.
emergent gameplay. I mean, and they've even talked about this. The sheer size of these procedural planets. You may not even need to buy a plot. It's just there's going to be so much open space, and when you have 10-to-1 ratio of NPCs, and we have more than one solar system, obviously, so not in 3.0, but there's going to be just tons and tons of room for somebody to just be like, all right, I like this little spot. This is mine now. I'm just going to live here. Doesn't mean another player couldn't show up and try and kill you and steal it from you, but I think that'll be a thing.
Yeah, I have we're gonna have to have somewhere to farm, right?
Yeah, I mean 4.0 is farming, right? Or is that 3.3?
It's like 3.
It's the last update, 3.4, 3.3. Yeah.
And and the personal beacon thing, once we get that too, you'll be able to find some little cozy oasis on a planet and plop down a beacon so you know how to get back there and all that good shit. So who knows?
Yeah, so again, who knows? We're probably going to have to, like, some of this stuff is going to have to come into it. I think they've alluded to it, but they haven't really talked about it. I'm sure it's because it's not fully fleshed out yet.
And also, regardless of having a structure, you could just park your ship and live out of your ship like an RV.
Yeah.
So
This is
mobile
my
home.
land.
Yeah.
Walk out with a
Got my double
shotgun.
wide. This is my oasis.
Just like you just walk out with your shotgun whenever someone, get off my property, motherfucker. You're like, it's not your property. I'll shoot you. It's my property. You know.
Emergent gameplay.
Alrighty, so that was the last question of the night. Thank you guys all for showing up. Are you guys doing any big things for New Year's for streaming, or you guys calling it a night mostly? Otto, do you guys have any plans for the bass?
Playing music
All
on the
night.
bass.
How about you, Grit?
I'm gonna go harass Bristol Boy. He's doing a
24-hour lounge? Okay.
New Year's stream.
Go give that guy some love. I know
Yeah,
how much those things.
We're gonna host Bristol after this, just because it's.
And he didn't
He's
sleep
doing this.
last night. He stayed up all night.
Yeah, he pulled a me. He pulled a me and a C
The
diesel.
only way to do it 24 hours. It's just
Yeah.
how it happened.
You just get all 24 hours or 48-hour wakes. That's how it works.
Oh
I
man.
even double checked though. He could be like passed out on his desk on the stream right now, for all I know.
Alrighty. So, anyways, thank you guys all for hanging out with us here tonight. If you guys did enjoy this, please hit that follow button here. And, of course, follow all of these wonderful content creators on their, if I can type right, maybe.
Oh
Podfallow.
god, then it's never gonna happen.
Yeah. Follow all of them. Go hang out with them. They all stream Star Citizen on a semi-regular basis. So the base radio is always on, literally always on. So if you want something that's Star Citizen related, the base has got you at some point, at some hour of the day. So yeah, again, thank you, Frank.
Shut me off.
They never turn you off. That's why you're sentient, and that's the reason why I brought you on here, so I wouldn't get. I for one welcome our robot overlords. Thank you guys all for hanging out. We'll be heading over to Blinky's, and like I say every night, hope to see you guys again soon. But if we don't, hope to see you someday in the black. Have a good night, guys.
07s.
And
Thanks for having us.
happy New Year for everybody.
Have a good night.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year!
Happy 2947, everyone.